Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm Marilyn and my channel's Making with Marilyn. Now I received the HTV Ront AutoPress quite some time ago, and I haven't really done a review on it yet because I wanted to use it for a while to see how I liked it. Well, just recently I discovered I was having an issue with the pressing mat. So on this video, I'm going to show you a couple of inexpensive ways that if you're having any issues with yours, you might find this improves it. Now, in addition to the mat, I'm borrowing from an idea from Craftable Things, and that is to protect the top platen at the heat press as well. So if you're interested in seeing what I've done with this, then stick around. So the first thing that I want to show you is you can get a Teflon cover that covers the top platen of the heat press. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up and put it on, and then after that I'm going to show you the problem with the mat. So you can see this Teflon protector that I got off of Amazon. It fits that very nicely. All right, let's look at the pad. Now here's the pad that came with the HTV Ront press. And first of all, I don't really like the loops to connect it to the heat press. I like to be able to remove my heat pad. And then one night I was on the live with Craftable Things and I noticed I was getting some creases in my shirts. And then within a few days, I saw a video by Tracy Johnson, and she had taken hers apart. She was having issues too. So I decided to cut mine apart as well. Let me show you what I found. And I'll also link to the video that Tracy Johnson did so you can see it. So the outside is kind of a canvas material. And then the next layer is this metallic, I wouldn't even call it a mat. It's very thin. So it's a piece of metallic paper or material, and then it's adhered to something that's kind of like an interfacing or something that's kind of thick and hard. But you can see, look at those creases. And that was messing up my rhinestone projects. Now that's the first layer. This is 2 layers. You can actually rip that apart. And then there's this foam pad under it. This foam pad, it's not a very dense one. You can squish it down very, very easily. So what I decided to do was order a replacement pad from Amazon. Now it's not an HTV Ront pad, it's just a generic pad. And so here's the one that I ordered. It's very heavy and it is very dense. It's going to give good pressure, I think. So here's what I need to do. I need to kind of retrofit this. And the reason I don't want to leave it the size that it is there is a slight divot in the base of the HTV Ront where your pad fits down into it. And to have even pressure across the whole thing, I think this needs to fit down into it just like the old pad did. So I'm going to match it up on 2 sides. And then with a fine Sharpie, I'm going to go ahead and trace the other 2 sides. Then of course I want to trace all 4 corners so that I get those rounded off because the divot in the HTV Ront press is rounded off. All right, it's very dim, but I can see it. So now I'm going to go ahead and take a metal ruler, and this has cork on the bottom, and this actually is somewhat, I wouldn't say anti-slip, but it's not real smooth. So the first thing I want to do is line that up with the straight line. And then I have just a knife tool. Hopefully this will cut through this. I knew it would take multiple times, but I do feel like it's cutting through it just fine. Okay, and I can see it did, and look at that smooth cut. That looks really good. Looks like a factory finish. So I'll just repeat here, and then I have an idea for how to get the corners rounded out real nicely. Now you could always just freehand this, but I want to look for something that's round that I can cut on. That's too small. Now that looks pretty good. If I had a can of veggies, maybe that would work as well. But I think I'll go ahead and try to cut around this. All right, so my corners don't look quite as perfect, but it will be okay. If you have a better idea, let me know. The problem with this is this was wider than the blade, and so I needed to move my cup in. I just didn't do a great job. It's not a real smooth cut. Like I said, if you have a good idea, let me know in the comments. All right, so I'm just going to repeat that around the other corners, and then I'm going to leave it a little bit rough for now till I figure out a better way how I can smooth that out. But it's going to be really functional, I hope. We're going to find out. All right, so here's how the corners look. I see a little bit of ink on some of them. I can just flip it over and have this be the upside. And again, if you have a better way to do this, please let me know, because these jaggedy corners kind of bother me. All right, let's put this on the heat press and see how it works. Now here's what I want to test this on, because I heard somebody say that they had an issue with the HTV Ront and DTF. Now this is the hack. I've done it on my channel before. It's actually sublimation ink, but you still use DTF film and DTF powder. So I'm going to follow the instructions that I received with my film and my powder. It's the exact same instructions that I followed before, and that's to press it at 325 for 10 seconds under very firm pressure. So just like sublimation, you have to print this backwards, and you don't necessarily need heat tape, but because I'm going to carry this to my press, I'm going to go ahead and tape it down. So my instructions say to wait 10 seconds and go ahead and peel this off. So let's go ahead and do that. And that came off really nicely, very easily. And that feels great. It looks great. That is a great press. Now, just because the instructions that most people give are to press this a second time with parchment paper, you can, and that kind of makes it really melt into the fabric. But this is great. That film came off easily. This is adhered very well. So I am very happy with that. I'm happy with my new pad. So if you happen to have issues with yours, consider doing these things. For me, this is going to make me feel so much more confident in this press. Now, just to compare apples to apples, since this is what I've done on my other presses, I went ahead and put that back under with some parchment paper. Look at those results. So thanks again so much for joining me today, and until my next video, bye-bye.